I would like to talk a little bit about fair trade. One thing about Trades of Hope, two things actually, is one, they are not fair trade. They do follow fair trade principles, and I'll explain that in a minute. The second thing is they are for profit, and I will explain that in a minute. Let's start with fair trade. The reason why Trades of Hope is not fair trade is because if they were fair trade, they would have to work with artisans groups that are also fair trade. One thing I learned when I joined is that fair trade is expensive. It's time consuming and it's very expensive. So some of the groups that Trades of Hope works with are 2 or 3 people. These are not, it's not attainable for them to be fair trade. So in order for Trades of Hope to work with those artisan groups, they would have to also be fair trade. So they've chosen not to get that label, but they do use fair trade principles. They follow as many of the guidelines as they possibly can. For example, in Haiti, the women are allowed to bring their children to work. It's part of what Trades of Hope wants them to do. They want them to be able to keep their children, and if they were not able to bring them to work, then they would have to pay for daycare, and so they're allowed to bring them into the workspace, which if they were fair trade, they would not be able to. So really the things that they may not be following for fair trade are actually good things. Then they are for profit, and they're for profit because then the compassionate entrepreneurs like me do make a wage. Volunteer work doesn't last. Volunteer work doesn't last. Paid jobs do. And Trades of Hope really wants their artisans to be paid. And if the compassionate entrepreneurs were just volunteer, it wouldn't last. And then the artisan groups would fall apart. So we do make a wage just like any other home party business. And that's what allows us to continue with our jobs, to go to home parties, have that kind of business. So it's a fair business model that I love to use. So that's just a little bit about Trades of Hope, fair trade, for profit, right up front. Let me give you an example. In Haiti, for part of the wage, a lot of questions get asked. How much do the artisans get paid? It's not a great answer it's not a simple answer that we can give. There's no percentage. There's no dollar amount. Each group they work through it. They find out how much does it cost to live, feed your kids, send your kids to school, and then above and beyond. So in Haiti, the minimum wage is $5 a day. That's our minimum wage. Most people get paid $2 a day. Through Trades of Hope, the artisans are getting paid $15 a day. So they're getting a fair wage. They're getting 3 times what their minimum wage is supposed to be. So Trades of Hope is an amazing company, and they really care for their artisans, and they want them to be successful businesswomen. Thank you.